From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Welcome into SportsLine, everybody, right here on News Channel 5 Plus. Jon Burton with you. Happy to be with you on a Wednesday evening. It's the Wednesday extravaganza after all. We are with you for the next hour. Of course, you can always give us a call. Let us know what is on your mind. Got a great show for you tonight. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, 8:30 here locally, Virgil Herring, our friend from the director of golf at the Ensworth School, and of course longtime PGA teaching professional, and of course he does those great golf tips for us over on News Channel 5 on the Electric Power Company Sunday Sports Central. He will be with us via Zoom to preview the Masters. The par 3 contest was held today. The weather held up, and then of course it all gets underway tomorrow. And of course, you probably know by now the big news: Tiger Woods says he plans to play. He will tee off at 9:30 Central Time, 10:30, well, actually 10:34 Eastern Time, as he attempts what would be a remarkable comeback from just 15 months ago or so, when he was in that horrible car accident where he nearly left us, and he also nearly lost his leg. And so he has been rehabbing obviously like crazy. He feels like he is up to it. He also says he feels like he can contend, and he says he feels like he can win. So we will see what happens. Of course, third and fourth round coverage of the Masters. You can watch it all weekend long over on News Channel 5 as we bring you golf's first major of the season. So Virgil Herring joins us at 8:30. Make sure you're sticking around for that. He always has great insights when it comes to the major golf tournaments, especially the Masters. So we will look forward to that at 8:30. Meanwhile, in hockey, the Preds with a big win last night. Needed it, absolutely had to have it over the Minnesota Wild. 6-2 at Bridgestone Arena, as they, right now, as we speak, holding on to the top wild card spot in the Western Conference, fighting for their playoff lives. But it is still jumbled in that chase pack, if you will, of teams trying to work their way into the playoffs. Obviously, the Preds would prefer to have the top wild card spot, because if they get the second wild card spot, that means they'll likely have to face the Colorado Avalanche in the first round of the playoffs, and the Avalanche are looking very much like a strong Stanley Cup contender. So it would certainly be a tough series for the Predators to win if they were to draw the Colorado Avalanche in round one. We're going to hear from several of the Preds heroes last night. First and foremost, Ryan Johansen, the center. Of course, he's known more for his playmaking ability. He's more of a passer and a setup guy. But last night he had his first career hat trick. Hard to believe such a skilled player as Ryan Johansen never had an NHL hat trick before. But he did last night. 2 power play goals and an empty netter to seal it late. Here now is Ryan Johansen after last night's big game against Minnesota.
Yeah. One overall for you. Yeah, we knew what the stakes were for this game, and everyone on the team contributed. As you could see tonight, it was a war. It was a playoff-like game, and a heck of a team over there, and it was a big win for our group, and just take a step forward and keep that going.
I think that was the first hat trick of your career. Nice to get it in a high-stakes game.
Yeah, awesome to get in a big game, and at home here too, which is really cool. So it's been a long time, so it was nice to get it.
Ryan, what goes into that, as you said, a high-stakes game and rising to that challenge? What goes into that for your group? How do you do that?
Oh, that's why you play the game. You play the game of hockey for the big moments and the big games. And if you don't show up in these games, you're not going to play in the playoffs. So it was a great sign, and we know what we're capable of, and it's just you got to go out there and get it done, and we did that tonight, and so it's a good feeling right now.
They certainly came out very physical. Do you feel like you guys kind of, with the 3 power play goals, kind of made them pay a price a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. They took some penalties from being aggressive and playing hard, and we were able to capitalize. So it's great to make them pay, and our penalty kill did a good job tonight too, and we made some mistakes and we're in the box.
How do you keep it going at this time of the year as well? Roman was saying that you beat Ottawa last time, but it weren't necessarily the overall effort. How do you keep something like this going?
Yeah, enjoy it here for a little bit, and then we really got to get our focus back to try and execute that game that we just played as best we can in Ottawa, and if not better. So that's That's a mindset thing more, I think, from our group, and if we want to take another step against Ottawa, is just continuing to play like that from here on out.
Right, Johansen, the hero last night for the Predators, his first career NHL hat trick, helping the Predators to a 6-2 win over the Minnesota Wild, as again they sit as the top wild card team right now as we speak in the Eastern Conference, but the Dallas Stars just a point behind them in the 2 wild card spot. The Vegas Golden Knights hovering around there as well, and of course that coveted third spot in the Central Division is also attainable as well for the Predators, but they have to keep winning, and they have the 4th toughest remaining schedule of all teams in that so-called chase pack in the Western Conference. So if they make the playoffs, they're certainly going to have to earn it. So they got the Ottawa Senators coming up next, and they will look to get another 2 points. And again, big game last night, especially coming off the 4-3, a disappointing 4-3 loss at Buffalo back on Friday. Head coach John Hynes of the Predators certainly happy to see his team bounce back.
See that from your group here tonight?
Yeah, I certainly did. I think we know what type of group that we have. As far as our competitive nature, our care level, and the identity that we want to be able to play with. And we talk a lot. I think you've heard me talk throughout the year about playing our best hockey when the stakes are high, and why having an identity. And sometimes there's bumps in the road, and being able to get back to the identity that we all believe in, and the players themselves have created with the commitment level that they play with. And I thought we were able to get back to that game tonight, and that's more of the game that gives us the best chance to win, regardless of who we play.
Do you feel almost, John, that they were kind of trying to send a message early with more physical play, and that you guys maybe sort of made them pay a price with the 3 power play goals there?
Yeah, I mean, that's our game. Our game is, toughness, physicality, speed. We have it throughout our lineup. It's really the fabric of our identity. So if teams try to push us in those areas, it's, we have a very good power play. It's been very good all year long. So, that allows it too. But I just like the pushback in our team. Like, that's a big part of our identity, is that we got a lot of sandpaper. We got a lot of highly competitive guys. And I think the more intense the game gets, the better our team is. The more physical the game is, the better our team is. And I thought that, was indicative tonight. And I think sometimes when, there's not a lot of testosterone in the game, sometimes, it's hard for us to get going. But I think when it becomes physical and it's hard, and you have to fight for your ice, and that it's a man's game out there, that really, I think, really our team can rise to the occasion. That's the game they thrive in.
Ryan Johansen's first career hat trick. The guy that maybe looks past first, but what did you think of him, especially being able to get 3?
Well, really happy for Joey. I mean, he's done so many good things this year. I think he's obviously a big part of why we're having success this year and in the playoff race. I think he's having a great career year, I believe, and first hat trick in over 800 games, which is, good for him. And, I just give a lot of credit to him. We had a tough loss in Buffalo, and I just think his attitude in and around the rink, and the type of teammate he is, and his presence and things like that. I thought he led in the right way prior to the game, but I also thought he stepped up, in the game today and made a big difference for us.
Shuffled the top 2 lines a little bit tonight. What made your decision to sit Ellie for the game, and how do you think Tomasino responded to getting up there?
Well, with Tolby, we had a good meeting. I just think that, our team hadn't been playing regularly the way that we wanted to, and we hadn't really made any changes or lineup changes. We stuck with a lot of guys, and, I do believe in that when players play the right way, that try to keep them in and get them going and things like that. But also Matt Luff's, when we took him out, he's coming off a 2-goal game and has played really, really well. I think you see him tonight. His speed was a factor. Size was a factor. We used him late in the game. When they pulled a goalie out there in those situations. Tolby, I just have so much respect for the way that he plays, and that was the thing that we talked about, that he's really turned himself into an NHL player with, I think, his competitiveness, the way that he plays, his details without the puck. But, he is an offensive guy, and I think that sometimes as a young player, when you haven't produced and you feel like you're playing the right way a lot, but, he also is in a top 6 role where it wasn't so much the production, which we talked about. It was just more chance generation, that you can't you can't get on a player because they don't actually produce points, but they need to produce chances. And I think it was just a real good opportunity for him to get a reset. Just let's step away for a game or two here. Let's see what, where he's at, what he's doing. We had a discussion. He went out with the extra players today. He had a lot of life. He had a lot of puck touches. He got a shot going. And I think sometimes for a young player that cares as much as he does, it weighs on you. And sometimes just a reset is the best thing. We had a good meeting. He was on board with it. He's an important part of our team. He plays the way that we want to play, and I have no doubt that he's going to be able to respond.
Sorry, just the Tomasino part, how do you feel like he kind of took advantage of it?
I thought Tommy did a good job. One of the things we talked with him about was playing with Phil and Joey. He's probably going to get a little bit different types of maybe deep pairings against them and some of the lines that he's going to play. So, the times when Tommy plays really, really well, he's extremely competitive on the puck. And there's times where, as a young guy, it drifts out of it. And one of the things we talked about was he certainly thinks the game offensively at a level that Joey and Phil do, and I give Joey and Phil credit. They were very receptive. I had discussions with all of our guys about what we're thinking coaching wise about some of the different changes. I asked for their opinions. I asked for their input on what they felt, and that was. I think the players recognized we probably needed a change. We discussed certain combinations that might work and have worked in the past. So I thought we were all in on it together, and I thought Philip did a good job. I really liked his competitiveness on the puck, and I thought that line was pretty good.
6 goals for your group, but Juice stops almost 50 shots as well. Just an example of one more player rising to the challenge.
Yeah, Juice played great. That's the way we need him to play, and I think it was the 50 shots, but I also think halfway through the game fairly even, and then in a lot of the goalie pull situations and things like that, I think the shot clock flies up, but Juice was at the level that we need him to be at. He's an elite goalie in the league. He was elite tonight, and that's nice to see. He's another guy that he cares a lot. He wants to play the game the right way, and when he plays at that level, he gives us a chance to win every night.
If you guys had multiple points tonight, how important is that success with the season winding down?
Well, it's important for us to be able to generate offense in different ways, and I think some guys had some multiple point nights, and it's nice to see those. I think a few of the guys that did have multiple point nights are guys that we do count on, and I think that they have they put the responsibility on themselves to be able to produce at a high level. So I think that's great, but I would also say that scoring in different ways, 5-on-5 on the power play. I think depth scoring in your lineup is really important coming down the stretch.
Anything else?
If someone were to say, show me a game that best exemplifies your identity as a team, is this a game you would point to?
Yeah, I think there's been several throughout the year, but this was something that we had talked with our guys a little bit about of our identity and getting some of our swagger back and the attitude back in our game that makes us a hard team to play against. And I think that when you have that identity and you have the players that they really rise to the occasion from the competitive level that we need to play with, that the Nashville Predators need to play with to be a hard team to play against that separates us from other teams. I think this was that type of a game that had a little bit of everything. It was physical. It was a man's game. There wasn't a lot of time and space. There were some fights. Special teams were key, but this game wasn't for the faint of heart. And I think that's what makes our team. That's the edge that our team plays with. I think some of the challenge for us is when there's not that style of game, sometimes is really getting into what we want to do. But I would say this was an identity game for sure.
Predators head coach John Hynes after last night's 6-2 win over the Minnesota Wild, a very important win for the Nashville Predators. All right, time for our first break. When we come back, history will be made next year in 2023 as Notre Dame will play Tennessee State. They had a press conference earlier today in South Bend, Indiana. You'll hear that and much more coming up on SportsLine.